Motorola recently announced its new lineup of mid-range smartphones in the form of Motorola Edge 20 and Motorola Edge 20 Fusion. In the last few months itself, we have seen great offerings such as OnePlus Nord CE, Poco X3 Pro, Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, and Xiaomi 10i. The Moto Edge 20 is the new kid in the block which ticks all the boxes, at least on paper. With several smartphones already crowding the mid-range market, let's take a look at how good the Moto Edge 20 Fusion's claim to the top spot in this detailed review. Right out the box, the Moto Edge 20 Fusion is a bulky device to hold. The device spans a large 6.7-inch display and weighs around 185 grams. In terms of thickness, the phone is measured to 8.25 millimeters. Given the size of the display, the weight and the thickness of the Edge 20 Fusion are respectable, but it's not a thin and light device by any means. There is some weight to the device owing to its rather large size, but the narrow aspect ratio compensates for the in-hand feel. The Moto Edge 20 Fusion comes in two main variants, the Cyber Teal and the Electric Graphite. The back has a matte-like finish to it, which surprisingly does very little to impede smudges and fingerprint marks. In trademark Motorola fashion, there is a dedicated Google Assistant device, but its placement at the very top of the left edge makes it hard to reach. Thankfully, the fingerprint scanner hasn't been built into the Moto logo at the back this time, and instead you get one in a much more reasonable position on the side indicated with the power button. The 3.5mm headphone jack, speaker grill, and USB-C port can be found at the bottom. The phone is also IP52 rated for protection against dust and water. Overall, while there isn't much to complain about the design, the overall design could have been better as it looks like an old school design. The Moto Edge 20 Fusion sports a large 6.7-inch Full HD resolution display and a 20:9 aspect ratio. It is also HDR10 certified and covers DCI-P3 color space. The device is also a feast to your eyes, be it watching content or playing games. Thanks to the 90Hz refresh rate, scrolling through the UI feels smooth and fluid. The colors are punchy and have the right amount of contrast. The screen gets extremely bright and is easily readable even outdoors. Overall, we like the display on the Moto Edge 20 Fusion and easily the best we've seen in the segment. That being said, the size of the device might be too big for many people. But if you can let that go, you're getting a great screen to watch movies and shows. The Motorola Edge 20 Fusion has been swift with almost all tasks given at hand. The unit is driven by MediaTek Dimensity 800U octa-core processor. This chipset can perform multiple tasks running in the background with the least of lags. The gameplay experience is also decent. We tested its performance with the Shadow Fight 4 and Asphalt 9 and no complaints to highlight. As for the device's heating issues, there wasn't any until you play games at a stretch on the highest settings and when it's plugged in, but that's not super concerning. You can select between 6GB and 8GB RAM options. We got the former to review and got a good response with the app loading and switching. The Motorola Edge 20 Fusion packs in a 5000 mAh cell under the hood, which is pretty much a standard issue these days. I looped a 720p movie at half brightness and volume, and the phone ran out after playing it back for nearly 28 hours, which is quite good. In terms of real-time usage, the phone didn't die out on me during the day, even with extensive YouTube and PUBG Mobile I threw at it, and the screen on time being about 6 hours. Motorola claims up to 2 days of battery backup, but in my opinion, your usage would have to be very light to achieve that. In any case, the Moto Edge 20 Fusion comes with a 30-watt fast charger that juices up the phone in a little over an hour. On paper, the Moto Edge 20 Fusion's camera array sounds pretty damn impressive. There's a 108 megapixel primary lens, 118 degrees 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, and 2 megapixel depth sensor. However, more megapixels don't necessarily mean better quality shots, so I was keen to see how the Fusion setup would fare in practice. The results were a mixed bag. Taking photos with Fusion isn't particularly a fast process. Its camera is too slow and image processing isn't much faster. Inevitably, that means that the image you see in the camera app looks a lot poorer quality than the end result. It's a shame because the end result is actually great. The shots are crisp and detailed, and colors are true to life. The 32 megapixel selfie camera is again pretty slow, but again produces decent results. You just have to be a little patient. For less than $500, the Motorola Edge 20 Fusion represents fantastic value for money, packing some serious beefy specs into a budget-friendly package, even if the package is a little too unwieldy for the small-handed among us. The camera, while slow, does produce some beautiful shots, and though it's not the sleekest and most premium feeling phone in the world, it more than does the job. Could improvements have been made for better low lighting shooting? Definitely. Is the lack of stereo an issue? I think so. Can the screen be brighter? Probably. These are minor roadblocks over an otherwise impressive mid-range attempt by Motorola, and I have no problem in recommending the device to users who would like a clean software experience while not compromising on vital aspects of the smartphone experience.